Christ according to St. Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It's no longer good for anything, but it's thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. The Gospel of the Lord. Dear hearers of God's word, grace and peace to you from God our Creator and our Lord and Savior Jesus the Christ. Amen. We go from blessings to, oh my, what are we going to get ourselves into? And that's really a good way of looking at it. Not blessings that, oh, you're in trouble now, but rather blessings and the, oh, we're in trouble now, that remind us about something different. And it's kind of hard to think about because it means we have to think in different ways. Today's gospel has one of these little interesting twists in it. Because we hear about Jesus being loved, right? And this sounds like Jesus is telling you, you're in trouble. You have to be perfect. You've got to be really, 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 really good. Right? That's what it sounds like. And in fact, yes, that's what he's saying, but in an interesting way. I love the fact that Doris always sets the stage for me. She takes the gospel and gives me my jumping off point, so I don't have to worry about it. And today, actually, Lois gave me the jumping off point too with the reading from Isaiah. Because Isaiah says, shout it out! Tell the world, let everybody know. Not tomorrow, but right now. And what Jesus has done is actually tell us to shout it out right now let your light shine. Be the salt of the earth. If you're going to be mealy-mouthed, what good are you? And that's exactly what this gospel is about. It's telling you that this is what perfection looks like, and you're not going to get there. You can't do it. You can't be perfect on your own. You are to be the light of the world. You are to be salty. When somebody tells you, you've got to do it this way, you can be the salty one that says, excuse me? How are you saying that to me in the love of God? How does that manifest the light of the world by your actions? How are we going to be the light of the world? That's the hard work. We want to shout it out. We want to let our fast be not one that persecutes the foreigner, or as the word originally is translated, the sojourner in your community. You are not to put yokes on the people of God so that they act like you do. I'm reading and following with something that happened this last several weeks. Franklin Graham, who you may know was the son of Billy Graham, had planned a crusade in England, in the UK actually. And when people made known his policies and his preaching with regard to people of differing gender preferences, it's a nice way of putting it, he just wanted everybody to be like him. And so what they started doing was realizing that he was not one that they wanted to preach in England. And so the venues where he was proclaiming began to cancel their contracts because they said he was in violation of the non-hate laws in the UK. And now he wants to sue. And I read a comment by a 14-year-old who was letting his light shine. The 14-year-old said, God asks us to love who?
One another.
Everyone. And the little kid, 14, the young adult, if you will, the one who's shining his bright light, said, God asks us to love one another, not hate any one of us. The minute we turn our lights and put them under bushel baskets, the minute we become mealy-mouthed and kind of, no, I don't think I can say that. Maybe we need to think about being that 14-year-old. And now he wants to sue. Because the light of the people of England and the UK are calling out to love who? Everyone. And isn't that exciting? Because if we didn't have that option, if we didn't have that promise of God to be the light in the world, we couldn't save lives. We couldn't heal people. We couldn't reach out and bring the world a hope of peace. So when there is anger, when there is despair, when there is no love, when we, I'll do it this way, when we cover ourselves up to pretend that we don't have a voice and that we aren't the voice of God, like that 14-year-old in England. We are the voice of God. And as Isaiah told the people of Israel, shout it out fast correctly by freeing those who are in yokes. Fast correctly and love one another. Care for the sojourner. Take care of my planet, if you will, is what God was saying. Wow. Isn't that amazing? To be the light, to be hope in a world that is often hopeless. Isn't that amazing? That we, gathered here, assembled as Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church in Middle Village, are the light of the world, and that we're the salt cellars. That's cellar as in C-E-L-L-A-R-S, storers of salt. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that powerful? That we, as the people of God, can make people who want hate to rule, to turn around and be frightened by us. And maybe, God willing, change to hear what it means to be a light bearer. Isn't that amazing? And that's what we should be in our environments, in our work, in our play, in our vacation. I was on vacation one time. I do vacations, you know. Sometimes more often than I think I should. It's sometimes what I need. And I was standing, listening quietly to somebody yelling and screaming. And I do mean yelling and screaming. They were like one of those people that you see sometimes on the subway who's a little deranged. Well, I kind of thought he was deranged. He was yelling. And I'm standing there listening to him. And I turned to him, and I kind of knew what he was yelling about. Now, I'm a little gullible sometimes, and I'm a little crazy sometimes, and I knew I shouldn't have done what I did because he was really loud, and he was a little crazy. And he'd been going on for like 10 minutes. It was like, this is not a smart move. I said, and he took a breath, and I said, so are you through now? Now, can you tell us what has upset you so much? I'm here. So we know I didn't get beaten up. And he looked at me and he said, they aren't listening to me. Who? Anybody! Oh, okay. You want to tell me what's wrong? We had an hour and a half conversation. That's being the light of the world. It's what it is that God asks us to do. To be salt, to be light. Isn't that an amazing piece of power that God has given us. That's what's amazing about this gospel, is because God tells us to go out and change the world, and then he tells you, if you try to be perfect the way according to the law, if you try to do perfect, you're not going to succeed. But he tells you to go out first. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that an amazing switch? You're the light. You're the salt. And you don't have to be perfect to do it. And for that, may we all shout out, thanks be to God. Amen.
Amen.
With the whole church, let us confess our faith in the words of the Apostles' Creed. I believe God, Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. I believe in Jesus Christ, God's only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended into death. On the third day he rose again. He ascended into heaven. He is seated at the right hand of the Father, and he will come to judge the living and the dead.
trusting that God hears us